Hey, I'm Ced Hawkins, and welcome to the CedTalks Podcast. My guest today is a student at University of North Carolina Wilmington. She's a bright individual, very driven, and I think she's going to contribute some great things to the show today. Right now, here is Madison Lopez. Madison, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad that we were able to get this taken care of and done. How was your vacation? Because I know you went away for a little bit. How was that?
I did. So I went to Marion, which is in North Carolina. My best friend just moved there after she graduated in May. She is about to be a new grad emergency nurse. So we were getting our vacation in before she started work. It was good. I love the mountains. The mountains of North Carolina are really pretty. So it was good to get away, good to get a break from work.
Yeah, absolutely. We all need that break. I mean, right now as I'm talking to you, I have like a week and a half off from work, which is so weird because I haven't had time off in so long.
Yeah.
So this is nice to just be able to sit,
Agreed.
do some podcast episodes, crank all that out there and just have a good time.
For sure.
Do you love traveling? Because I noticed on your Instagram page you love to travel. So when did that start for you?
So instead of senior week, I went to Mexico. I don't regret it at all. And I feel like that started my love for traveling. So, I mean, the United States are great and all, but I think there's a big world that we still need to travel. So since then, I've kind of made it my pact. And even with this past year with COVID, I mean, COVID took that away from us being able to travel. So I think it's important that we do as much traveling as we can. So I've been to Mexico. My family's from Ecuador. So I've been to them, I think it's been 2 years now since I've been there.
Nice.
So I love it there. I think I might be able to go back this summer. Been to Panama, Costa Rica. I think that's it. But yeah, I do love to travel. I love just seeing the different cultures here. I think it's a really big thing to get out of your hometown and explore, just life, what's life like outside of it. So.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I would have rather went to Mexico than senior week. And I went to senior week for one day because my mom wouldn't let me stay the whole week.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I think that's awesome, though, that you have all those experiences under your belt because not a lot of people get those opportunities to travel to different places. Like with me, I've only been to places in the DMV area.
Really?
I've been to Florida when I was 9 and then the Bahamas when I was 13. But besides that, in my young adult life, I haven't really been anywhere.
Yeah.
So hopefully I get that experience too because like you say, we all need to experience different cultures. We should have a newfound appreciation and respect for them versus being in this country, the United States. Yeah. No offense to our country. I'm glad that we have our freedom and our rights.
I know what you mean, yeah.
Yeah, but
I mean, like you said, if we have the opportunity, then we should act on it for sure.
Yeah, with COVID happening last year, March 2020, how did that affect you from a mental standpoint?
Oh boy. I'm pretty open about my mental health. I think it definitely took a decline in quarantine like most people's. But it definitely pushed me to go get help for that. In high school, I think I ignored it. I was pretty miserable in high school. So I realized a lot about myself. Got the help I needed. It's not embarrassing to see a therapist. I love mine. She's like my BFF. But no, it definitely took a toll. I mean, being secluded away from your friends and family, that's definitely hard. But my support system was great, and I think without each other, we would not have gotten through it, so.
That's great. I know mine definitely took a decline in a tour for the worse. I know I can relate with what you said, ignoring the warning signs of your mental health in high school, a little bit in college. I remember January 2020, the semester started. I was like, yep, I don't need you anymore. Like, I think I can do this on my own. And then COVID happens and we're in quarantine. And I should have reached out to my therapist, but I didn't. I just did everything on my own because I'm stubborn. I thought I got this. Like I don't need her.
You think you're better? No, I totally get that.
And it took about 6 months for me to go back to therapy and say, I need help. Like, I need somebody to talk to. Like, I got this, and this going on, and it's just not working. And so I've been going to therapy for almost a year now consistently. And it's really bettered my mental health just doing that. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, I feel like as a upcoming nurse, I've made it my personal, not goal, but personal thing to get people into therapy who need it and not make it a shameful thing. Because I think that a lot of people still have that stigma that they don't need it and that they're too good for it. Or no, I've seen a lot of people really blossom from therapy because more people need it than you think.
Right, absolutely. I think it's a big stigma among women, but I think among men too, it's a big stigma.
It's even worse.
Yeah, it really is. Because when I grew up, it was always, get over it. Don't think about it too much. So you just adapt that mentality and you don't think about it like you should be. But it's important to prioritize your mental health, address what's bothering you, so you can get to the root of it. Because hurt people, and eventually you're just gonna start hurting people, and that's not a good thing.
That's such a big thing. Like, I mean, I think I channeled my declining mental health into anger and putting it onto other people, and that was one of my things that sent me over the roof. So I was like, okay, I need some help.
Exactly. I know with me right now, since I'm being transparent, might as well, I've been dealing with grief. My father passed away back in September, and I think after it happened, I just threw myself back into work, threw myself back into school, because it was like, I got to get back to doing what I was doing. And eventually, once the semester came to an end in May, like, a lot of anger and a lot of emotions started building back up to the surface, and it was like, okay, I got to take care of myself and get this taken care of, because if I don't, it's really gonna affect the people around me, because it's like, I'm going towards my goals and all of my ambitions, but at what cost is that going to be? Sure, I can have all of this success, but I'm miserable. I shouldn't be miserable doing a podcast. I should be happy. I should be having a good time.
Exactly. No, I'm sorry to hear that. I didn't know about that.
All good. So I'm in grief counseling, I'm in therapy, being actually open with my feelings and stuff like that, and I think my mental health has genuinely improved since then. And as long as I can be consistent with it, then that's all that matters. Yep. So when you were in quarantine, you were in North Carolina, you weren't back in Maryland.
No, so actually, funny story, So quarantine happened. Let's think about it. This started in March. I was actually on spring break. So I was in Panama at the time, and we started hearing all these reports like, oh, everything's gonna go on shutdown, like we're never gonna be able to leave our houses. Well, I was still in another country at the time that my school basically said we were never coming back. So it's pretty scary crossing the borders with people in hazmat suits. I didn't know if I was gonna make it home, but no. So came back home, made it through the borders okay, and then I went back to school, packed up all my stuff, and I came home.
Got you.
Because I didn't know what life was going to be like in quarantine, by myself at school in my own apartment, so I was like, might as well be with my family.
Yeah, exactly. So quarantine was weird for me, because it's a lot of people were locked down in their homes, but I was still working at the daycare that I'm at.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I'm an essential worker, so I hear all these stories of people just being locked in their homes, and it's like, well, I was still going out still visiting my grandparents and whatnot. I didn't meet up with my friends and cousins like I wanted to, but I was still, hustling and doing stuff.
Damn. So when I first came home, I actually had bronchitis in March, and I swear I had the Rona, but it wasn't. So my dad's immunocompromised, so my family and I we did as much as we could to be safe for him. So we didn't work for a month or two, but then I kind of just had it being locked in my house, and I asked my work if I could come back. So we all pretty much worked through quarantine. I mean, my dad still worked, so I wasn't too locked in. But
part of me is great that the world is opening back up, but it's that worry at the same time of we're going to get back to the American style of hustling and doing everything again, whereas for a year and a half we've just been kind of relaxing a little bit, taking care of ourselves. Hopefully I don't want that mental health to be pushed to the side in favor of work again.
I feel like we're moving in the right direction. I've seen a lot of ads for mental health online and therapists online, which I think is really cool, expanding to more people. So I hope that still goes in the same direction.
Right.
But
I know you said your friend helped you get through that period of quarantine and your family, but were there other things that really kept you motivated, kept you encouraged during that initial period?
I'd be a bad dog mom if I didn't say my dog got me through it. She's definitely my emotional support animal. But I really took on exercising, and I know that may sound cliche, but one thing my therapist has been a huge honer in is making yourself sweat and just clearing your mind with a good exercise. So right now after this, I'm about to go on a run because I don't know, this week has been stressful. So I think it's a really good way to decompress in a healthy way, because I've seen a lot of friends go to drugs and alcohol and smoking, and I've just been fortunate enough to find this pathway. So I like to keep up with it as much as possible. I mean, I'm not like an Olympic athlete, but...
Of course.
Yeah. No, I think it's a really great way to decompress.
It really is. Like, I'm glad I have exercise as my healthy stress reliever. Like, the past few evenings, I've been jogging until it's dark out, and I can see the moon, and the moon lights my way up back to my house.
Yeah.
But I come in, and I'm just so drenched, but I got a good workout, and I feel so good about myself afterwards. It's like, we need that. And you said earlier that people turn to alcohol, drugs, smoking, all that stuff. Like, I sometimes I think about the people we went to school with, knowing the party culture that was among our class, and thinking, wow, like, I wonder what was really on their mind, what was on their mental when they was doing that every weekend. Because it's self-destructive. It really is.
My therapist she specializes actually in like addiction, and I mean, I feel like everybody knows someone who's gone through addiction. Like, the root of that is anxiety and depression, which I don't think a lot of people know that. But yeah, so I'm happy I didn't go that route, but it's definitely something to think about. Yeah.
Are you a big component of journaling?
So my therapist tried getting me into it. At the height of like the worst of my anxiety over quarantine, I definitely did it because I was going through some other things, and it helped me. I know it helps some of my other friends, but I haven't been doing it recently, so I won't be a liar.
Yeah, now it's all good. Like, I think I journaled probably like a few weeks ago. I haven't been consistent with it as much, but usually when I do have my therapy sessions, I'll just write down everything that I'm feeling. And I'll just read all these paragraphs, and we'll just dissect it one by one. Because, like, in the moment, it's hard for me to really explain how I'm feeling, because I don't really know. I know how I'm feeling, but there's always
hard
the root. You have to get to, like, the main reason why you're feeling that way. And sometimes it's just so hard to pull that out of me because I don't want to share it. But when I write it down and I read it out loud, it's like, okay, this is why I'm feeling the way I feel. And we can kind of piggyback off of that and come up with those solutions that really help me out.
Yeah, she was really big into writing things out. Like, you can like type as much as you want and have like main points to talk about with her, but she like believed that when you would write it out, like, your energy would come out through you when writing. So I thought that was pretty cool. If I have my bad days, I will journal.
Yeah. Would you say that nature also helps you? Because I know you said you like the mountains and stuff in North Carolina. So is that something that soothes you?
I do believe so. I went on a hike actually with my friend, and we went rock climbing, which is something I wanted to check off my bucket list. So yeah, I mean, just seeing nature and how beautiful our earth is, it definitely is relaxing. I mean, our earth is so beautiful, like, I think we take for granted her sometimes, but just sitting in like an Eno or something and reading, it's beautiful. It definitely relaxes.
Yeah, I'd say the warm weather has definitely improved lots of people's mental health from the people who I've talked to on the podcast and family and friends, just because like we can be outside again. In the winter, it was just cold. We had our first like snowstorm in years here in Maryland, so we were just kind of locked in our households and stuff, and it was just awful.
Exactly.
I remember getting my wisdom teeth out at the end of January, and my oral surgeon, she explicitly said, like, do not go outside so you can't get an infection.
What?
And there was snow on the ground, it was icy, and I was just locked inside for like 5 days. So I was like, this is what quarantine feels like.
Did you at least get some ice cream or some smoothies?
I did get some ice cream and smoothies. Well, after the surgery, funny story, like, I asked my cousin, like, hey, can you take me to Smoothie King afterwards? Because I want a big smoothie. He was like, I don't know. He's like, I don't know if I feel up to it. So I was like, all right. So I get out of surgery. I'm all loopy and whatnot. Yeah. Not laughing. I didn't get the laughing gas. Okay. But I'm just out of it. And he took me to Smoothie King. So I was like, thank you. He comes back with this large smoothie, and I'm just like, I can't drink all of that. And I'm still hooked up on the drugs and stuff. I'm like, I can't drink all of that. And I ended up not finishing it. And he used my card too. So that was like $10 of a smoothie that I didn't even finish. They really get
you with those dang smoothies.
They really do. Like, if I didn't have the surgery, I would have finished the whole thing. Yeah. No questions. But I had just had surgery, and you bought me this big smoothie.
That's funny.
But besides that, like, yeah, I love being in nature. I love fall time. I love the aesthetics and the colors of everything. Yeah. So it definitely helps my mental health.
Yeah, for sure. Good.
What would you say to someone going through any mental health issues right now if you could talk to somebody?
Ooh, that's a loaded question. Well, I think my biggest thing when I was going through mine, my mom was a great support system. She always wanted me to know that she was there for me. And I think that's really big for a lot of people going through mental health stuff. So, like, my best friend, Olivia, who I actually met through work, she had gone through some rough stages, too. So, we were each other's support system. We knew how each other were feeling. We'd gone through similar stuff. So, I think letting people know that they have support and that we will be there for them is really important, that they're not alone in it. That's my number one. And I think, like I said before, therapy's not shameful at all. It's nothing to be embarrassed about. And even if you have to go on medication too, it's not shameful. I'm on it. Everybody's on it.
Yeah.
Oh goodness. What else? I feel like those are my 3 main points. I don't know. You have anything else?
Yeah, I think definitely a community of people to talk to is helpful. I know when I was going through my period of issues and I wasn't really reaching out and talking to family like I should have been. So they think I'm okay, but really it's like I'm not okay.
Yeah.
I just don't know how to verbally express how I'm feeling. But it's like the more I opened up and talked to people about how I was feeling, things got more better for me.
You realize other people are going through it too with you, and I think that's really not beautiful, but I think it's soothing. You know?
Yeah. I like the movie Inside Out, the Disney movie.
Yes!
Yeah, and it's like when Riley has her breakdown because she misses Minnesota. It's like that scene gets me every time because it makes me think I've been in that situation before where I don't know how to express how I'm feeling, and then in a moment I just express how I'm feeling, and it's like a whole breakdown. And it's like we didn't have to get to this point, but now I'm at this point. But sometimes we need sadness in our lives to let the happiness shine through.
That's funny. That's
as cliche as that sounds.
No, it's not cliche. I love that movie.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Mm-hmm. But talk to me about your life growing up here in Maryland. What was that like for you?
Oh, God. Well, as you can see, I am 6 hours away from my hometown going to school. So I don't want to say it was the worst time of my life growing up because we really, at least I was privileged growing up in a great education system. Like, going to school down there, you really saw the different education and different friends, students. But I think I don't know. I still love it here, don't get me wrong. But I think one of my big things is I wanted to explore life outside of Maryland. I'm definitely coming back after graduation. So I don't hate it too much. But yeah, no, I think it was great growing up here. Most of my family's still in Maryland, so that's another pulling factor. But yeah, I lived here my whole life.
Yeah, I think people do need that separation, though, away from Maryland. Like, with me, I've never experienced that separation away from home. I don't think it's going to happen. Just because I think I've been here too long with college and everything. You know, I'd love to travel the world, travel these different places, but I don't know. I feel like Maryland is my home. Yeah. Or if Maryland's not my home, I'm going to find a place that's similar to Calvert County. I just like the slow life aspect of thing. I'm not like a big city person, party or nothing like that. Like, I like the simple things.
Yeah.
And so I get that here.
I never thought I was a city person, but Wilmington's, where I go to school, is pretty much just like here, like very, not farm-like, but very country-like, like not very many people, but I see myself gravitating towards like DC, Alexandria area just because I like the pace of it. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Like this morning I saw a crane walking in my backyard and I was like, yeah, this is beautiful. Like I don't think I could live in the city. Like I went to visit my friend in Baltimore, I want to say like a few weeks ago. I was over at his apartment and I like the city life. I like seeing the different buildings and stuff like that. But once I got back to Maryland and I saw the trees, I was like, I'm back home. So
I don't blame you.
But I think people do need that experience though, away from home, just because they can see what the culture is like outside of their environment. Because a lot of people do get stuck here. Yeah.
I don't want to be stuck here.
When you think of the lessons or the morals and values that your parents taught you growing up, what are some of the things that come to mind?
Not to get too political or anything, but they've always told me to stand up for what I believe in. So I think with this past year and a half, that's been a big thing for me. And they've always taught me to work for what I want. I've been working since I was 14, which is kind of crazy to think about. I've had the same job since I was 14.
What?
I know. Wow. My bosses have been great to me. I can't complain at all. But yeah, my dad, he's definitely been my big work motivator to work for what I want. I mean, he's the reason I'm going into nursing because of his cancer. So, yeah, I think those are my two big lessons from them, I'd say.
Yeah, that's good. That's crazy. Like, I've been working since I was 14 too.
Yeah.
Working with my grandfather. He owns a roofing company.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so I was too young to work here, so I was like, Granddad, can I go to work with you and make some money? He was like, sure, go ahead. And I think I worked with him for about 3 summers until I was finally old enough to get my own job.
Yeah.
But it was really good. Like, it taught me to get up early and
teaches you schedule and commitment, and I agree.
because I'm talking, he would pick me up at 5:30 and I would just have to get up and make sure that I called him in time, because if I didn't, he would just back out the driveway and leave. So I definitely had to get him in time. But
that's cute.
yeah, I'm grateful for those experiences though. Helped shape me as a person.
For sure.
Yep.
I definitely think my managers at work have shaped who I am today, for sure. They're like my parents away from home at work. I love them.
So you are going into the nursing field.
Yes.
Would you want to be in a hospital, or do you want to be like a doctor? Like, which area would you like to focus in?
Yeah, so this has been a hot topic for me with graduation coming up. I don't know. My end goal for a while is I wanted to be a nurse practitioner. So in layman's terms, it's basically like a doctor. So I've seen a nurse practitioner my whole life as like my family doctor, so my pediatric doctor. I loved her. I loved everything they could do. They always built a relationship with their patients, which is like a big thing for me. So I could see myself doing that. But I don't know if I want to be a doctorate of nursing. I kind of just want to see where life takes me, because that'll be another 3 years, I think, because I'd have to get my DNP now instead of just my master's, because nursing wants more doctors of nursing, I guess. I don't know. I guess I'll see where I land a job first.
Yeah, that's cool. Like, we definitely need more people in the medical field and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Have you been in the hospital since COVID has taken place with like any internships or something like that?
Oh, yeah. So actually, the first semester, so back in March when Rona all started, we actually had our clinicals canceled. So that was kind of a bummer, but they wanted to keep all the PPE for, the doctors and nurses who are working on the front line, so we understood. But the following semester, and I think it was the fall semester, because spring, we went back, full PPE and everything. It's not scary. I think if anything, this pandemic has made me want to be a nurse more to help out. But yeah, so it's definitely different in the routines and stuff we do in the hospital, just being safe. But things are looking better, I'd like to say.
Yeah, that's good. I know with me, I'm going into education.
Okay.
That's my field of studies. So before COVID, I was taking these education classes at CSM, doing some, not internships, but observations, around the daycare and stuff. And I really loved it. And this fall, I did an education class, and we would have done an observation in an actual school where I would have sat in a classroom and watched the teacher do a whole entire lesson. But with COVID and everything, we couldn't do it.
That's the worst.
It was definitely a bummer, because I really thought I could have really learned more and experienced more from that. But as things are slowly starting to opening up, hopefully things change and I can actually get in that classroom and see that experience.
That is a bummer. That makes me more grateful for being able to go into the hospitals. I guess I'd be pretty scared if I was a patient and my nurse had never been in the hospital before. So yeah, they shoved us right back in, and I mean, we have to get that time with patients, so. Yeah,
exactly. I need that time with students.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I get that at the daycare, so I get all of my experience there.
You don't want to get those little kiddos sick.
No, you don't. They got me sick a few weeks ago. Like, literally, I had an upper respiratory infection. Ooh. It was awful, and I still had to work, and they got me sick. So, definitely, there's a downfall of working with kids, but they're fun, though.
That's funny.
Was nursing always it for you, or did you have other careers in mind? Because I know with college students, our minds shift and change, and we switch our majors back and forth. So was nursing always it for you?
So, I guess backstory. My dad actually had cancer. He was diagnosed in 2004, so right around the time we moved here. I'd lived in Edgewater before, so nowhere crazy. But, he was kind of my drive into the medical field. So when people asked me what I wanted to do when I grew up, I was always like, I want to be something in the medical field, like a doctor or something. And nursing never really, like, crossed my mind until I was in the biomed pathway in high school. So, like, with Miss Bloom and Miss Wiles and all them, we'd have to research, like, jobs that we liked. And this one just stuck out to me because it was, doctors are great and all, no harshing on them. But nurses have that one-on-one with patients, and you build that relationship. And we've always been, like, the number one most trusted professional. So I think that's really important to me because without the nurses that helped my dad, I think things would have been a lot different. But he's kicking. He survived. They call him a little miracle. But the nurses were great, and I don't think we could ever repay them for that. So
yeah, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. You know, because I know that's such a sensitive subject for some people to touch on. So the fact that you had the courage to do that is something that I appreciate. So thank you for that.
Of course.
But yeah, that's amazing though. I know with me, like, I had different careers in mind for what I wanted to do. I remember telling my grandfather and my dad, I want to be a cop. And they looked at me sideways and like, you don't want to do that. Don't get into that. And then it was, yeah. And then it was IT, computer science. And then I realized you have to take a bunch of math courses for that. And I'm terrible at math. So I'm like, no, I'm not going to stress myself out all these years of college doing something that I'm not going to love.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to do broadcast journalism or just writing. And so I thought I wanted to do that. I did an internship here at the Calvert Recorder. That was my first internship I ever did.
That's fun.
Yeah, it was fun. Like, it definitely got me out of my shell and my comfort zone doing that. But I was like, I don't think that's going to be for me. And then, working at the daycare, working with the kids, I was like, this is the first time where I've done something and it's natural to me.
That's awesome.
And I genuinely want to come to work, which not a lot of people can say, of our age. So definitely helpful for me.
That was your aha moment.
It really was.
That really is a beautiful thing when people find like their clique, like their profession. Like I always told all my friends, you have to do something that you're going to be passionate about, otherwise you're going to dread going to work every day. So that's good.
Yeah. How was your time here in high school? What were some of the lessons that you learned from here?
Well, I hated it, just to be frank. No, I was not the most popular. I had a stable friend group through high school. Didn't go to the most parties. I pretty much honestly spent my high school life at work. I think that's why I was there for so long at Green Street, because I literally worked after school. I worked the weekends. I don't know, I worked my life away. So back to the mental health thing, I think I was ignoring a lot of signs, so it just made high school more miserable for me, but it definitely was not the best 4 years of my life like a lot of people make it out to be. I feel like I found myself in college, not to sound cliche, but yeah, high school I was not a fan of.
Yeah, I don't know, because I always thought you were popular among that popular group.
I don't think.
I'm not going to say any names, but I knew of your name and I heard of you, but our paths never really crossed that much. But yeah, I always thought you were amongst that group, so I was like, maybe I'm not as deserving to really talk to them and stuff like that.
I'm not like that. No.
But that's good though, because I always got those vibes, like, maybe they're not going to pay somebody like me the time of day. And then when I reach out to people to be on the podcast and they're completely different from what I expected them to be. Yeah. And it's like, okay, these are the people I should have been talking to in high school versus the other people I was hanging out with.
I know. I would never go back to high school in a million years, but I feel like there would be more people that I'd spend more time hanging out with versus the people that I did, if that makes sense. Because do you remember Mia Sermon? Yeah, so she's my best friend going on, it's 8 years strong or something. I've known her since I was in 5th grade, but she's pretty much my only friend from high school still, and I have no shame in that. I've always been a preacher in, you don't need a huge group of friends, you just need your close ones that'll stick with you through everything. So yeah, she's my rock.
Yeah, that's good. I don't really talk to a lot of people who I hung with from high school.
Yeah.
I probably keep in touch with them or I see them on social media, but I don't talk to them like some people that I talk to.
Yeah.
Like, Got him.
Yeah,
Got him is one of my best friends ever. And we never really talked in high school.
Okay.
We crossed paths a few times. We did a driver's ed course together, but I asked him to be on my show last year, and he did it.
I remember,
Yeah, and I was like, you know what? We have a lot in common. And we just became, the best friends. He's getting ready to be on my 100th episode next week. Yeah, so it's like one of those instances where it's true that the people that you hang with in high school, you don't really keep in touch with or really stay friends with that group, but you meet the right people during your college career.
Oh, I totally agree. That's cute.
Yeah.
Gaudam's the man.
He is the man. He just graduated last winter.
That's crazy.
I know.
He's going to do big things.
Yeah, we're all graduating. We're all getting old.
I know. It's so scary, man.
Yeah, but I fell into that category of people who wanted to stay in high school. Like, I didn't want to leave just because, like, all the people who I hung out with, it was safe and it was comfortable.
It's your comfort zone.
Yeah. I was afraid of getting out there. But once I got out there and I started hustling, then I came up with the podcast. It was like, you know what? I don't need high school. I don't want to go back.
Growing up's scary, but we need to do it. We need to get out of our comfort zones, and that was a big thing for me leaving high school, but going 6 hours away, that surely helped.
Yeah, and speaking of that, Wilmington, what made you decide to choose that as your school? Because I know you wanted to get out of Maryland, but what made Wilmington so great to you? What was the appealing factor?
So don't laugh, but when I was looking for schools, I plugged in nursing, and I plugged in down south. Looking at it now, especially with everything that's gone on the past year, I would never think of myself as a Southern person. But no, I was honestly just looking for warm weather and pretty school, nursing school. So the beach was a huge factor of my decision for UNCW, because the beach is like 5 minutes away from my school. So I was actually between West Virginia University and UNCW, which are two polar opposites, which I still laugh about today because West Virginia gave me a good chunk of money in scholarship money, so it would have been nice. But I thought that UNCW was more of a fit for me. So it's like a medium-sized school. I see the same people here and there, which is kind of like a comfort thing for me. I've made a lot of friends. The people down there are just so nice and sweet. I found my group. Their nursing school is not like top of the nation, but they have good stats on passing the NCLEX, which is the big test we have to take to become a nurse. So after I graduate, I have to pass this big test. So yeah, those were all my factors.
Actually, that's nice. I started off at CSM, and then I got my associates and transferred to Bowie State the fall of last year. So I got about 2 more years up to Bowie before I can graduate because I have to do the teaching internship for 1 full year. But it's like I found my groove when I was at CSM, and that was one of my biggest fears because it's like, I saw the same people that I saw in high school, but I never really talked to those people. So at the same time, I didn't know them, but once I got to know them, they were really great people who really motivated me and made me a better student. Because I'll be honest, in high school, I wasn't the best student.
Really?
I was a procrastinator. My grades were everything, so I got A's and B's and whatnot, but it always took a while for me to like be on top of everything. But starting off in college, I just realized I can't really slack off like I used to. Whole different ball game. It's like I got to get things done ahead of time. Like when the professor says you have 2 or 3 weeks to do it, you got to do that right now because those weeks pass by like so fast.
For sure. Yeah, no, high school to college was definitely a different game. I was definitely the nerd in high school that got all of our stuff done and took all the millions of AP classes, but I don't regret it at all because that's why I'm graduating early in December, because typically it would have taken 2 semesters of prereqs to apply for nursing school, but because I transferred those AP credits, I got to get in early, so it was pretty cool.
When did you start taking AP classes?
I think sophomore year. I wasn't an eager beaver and did it freshman year. I think it was sophomore year, but don't quote me on that.
Okay, no, I started doing it my junior year.
Okay.
Just because freshman year, I was doing all standard classes. I wasn't ready for that.
Yeah.
By sophomore year, I was in honors classes, and then my teacher started recommending me for AP classes. So I was like, okay, why not? And I did 2 AP classes, AP Gov with Miss Hutzline, and I did AP Lang. I think we had that class together.
With Miss what?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I sat on one side of the classroom. I was so quiet, and then you sat adjacent on the other side.
Oh, I think I do remember that class. I have no idea who it was in, but
yeah. It was weird, though, because, like, I had never been in classes with so many different people.
Yeah.
And a lot of my friends were in there also, so I was just quiet as a mouse. I wouldn't say anything.
Yeah, I think I know who I sat next to because I was friends with her then, but that's the only person I remember in that class.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a very forgettable class.
Yeah.
She's not going to listen to this podcast.
English is not my forte, but, yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, it's all good. I love English.
Yeah.
Just English and literature and writing and stuff.
Do you think that's what you want to teach in, or do you know?
I want to start off in elementary school just because I work with the little kiddos now and I know how they work. But I wanted to get my master's in counseling psychology and be a guidance counselor.
Ooh.
And then make that jump maybe either elementary school or high school. So I can work with kids like one-on-one. Because, like, I'm working with their schedules and whatnot, but I still want to encourage them and motivate them to be their best so they can be very successful in college.
You would be awesome at that.
Oh, thank you.
That's awesome.
Yep, so that's my little plan. That's my goal.
Yeah.
More money, too, as a guidance counselor because teachers don't make that much as it is.
Which is crummy, but that's another topic.
Yeah, it is. Hopefully that changes when the pandemic ends and teachers get the respect that they deserve because they've worked hard this past pandemic.
Oh, my God, yeah. The stuff that they've had to adapt to, I mean, I give my professors even some kudos for, the oldies trying to work some technology, but...
Yeah. How was the adjustment when you got to Wilmington your freshman year? Was it a big adjustment or did you adjust fine to everything?
I feel like I adjusted better than my classmates, not to, like, toot my own horn or anything, but it's definitely something we all talked about because I think my AP courses, which if any of our past teachers are listening to this, you were right, but my AP classes, like, the workload definitely helped me, like, study-wise and, like, keep up with my stuff, because I don't think my tests were that hard. It was just a matter of time, finding the time to study, because, you want to be that freshman that goes to all the parties and explore Wilmington and do all the fun things, but you also have to find that balance to do your schoolwork and to get all that stuff done. So I think that was the hardest part, but yeah.
Yeah, that's good. My adjustment to CSM, I think academic-wise, work-wise, it was a big kind of like shock to me because I couldn't really rely on doing things at the last minute anymore. But, I mean, I adjusted fine towards the end of the semester, and by spring semester, I was doing great.
Good.
And I got my first 4.0 my sophomore year of CSM. Yeah, never had a 4.0 in my life, but once I got that, I was like, Mom, we're celebrating.
Grades are not everything.
They're not everything.
I've had to learn that.
Yeah, and I learned that even now with, like, my dad's passing and grieving, because this past semester was the first time I got a C in college in any of my classes. And I was like, you know what? I don't care. I passed. I don't need that class anyway as it pertains to my degree. So and it taught me that, I don't need to stress about my grades like I used to.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's good. Yeah, it's definitely healthy to be able to move past that and be like, you can keep going. So.
Yeah. You are approaching your senior year at Wilmington. Mm-hmm. What are some of the lessons that you've learned in your 3 to 4 years there as a student?
Ooh, that's another good question. I know one thing is to be open to meeting new people. That was really scary for me at first because I'm pretty quiet if you don't know me. I guess you could say, like, I'm not the most sociable person in the universe. So I had to really put myself out there to meet new people, and it's scary at first, but it really broadens your horizons to the people you surround yourself with. So that was pretty cool. Go to class. Don't skip your classes. Don't be that person. It will help you in the long run. Find that healthy balance, like I was just saying, between school and socializing. I think that's really important because you see some people drowning themselves in their work and not having fun at all and, just sucking the life out of them by studying all the time. I think for your mental health, you need to find that balance, like find things that help you relax, like going on a run or going to the beach with your dog or something like that. I think that's really important because school is important, but your mental health is more important. So.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Like me, I'm an introvert. I know my mom's going to listen to this and she's going to get on me for saying that I'm not an introvert because I do all this social stuff. It's like, no, like when I'm in settings where I don't know people, I clamor up.
Oh, for sure.
I don't talk to people.
I was definitely that girl in the corner of parties with her beverage just sitting in the corner, like not socializing. So I totally understand.
Yeah, like last year, like I went to a party that my coworker invited me, and it's with all these people who I don't know, and I was just kind of sitting there in the corner, and within 30 minutes, I left.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you one bit.
I was like, I can't do this because I don't know these people. I don't feel like, socializing with them and whatnot, so I ain't gonna do it. But I think besides that, sometimes I put that to the side just to be open to meeting new people. Like you and I, for example, we never really talked.
Yeah.
Our paths never crossed in high school.
Yeah.
So asking you to be on the podcast was like a huge thing for me because, like, what if she's going to say no? Like, what if she's just going to leave me on red? Because lots of people we went to school with, they've done that before.
It doesn't surprise me.
I'm not going to
throw shade.
I'm not going to say any names. Maybe I'll say a name when we're done recording. But yeah, that's like a big fear of mine. But I had to get over that, and I had to be like, if I'm open to this, and she's open to this, and she says yes,
exactly,
then it might be a good episode, and I could learn something from this person, and other people can learn from it. So you definitely have to be open to meeting new people.
Agreed. Yep.
How do you feel about life now as we're talking? Do you feel content with the life that you're living right now?
I do, and I don't think that's something I've ever, not to sound like totally depressed, but I mean, last year and a half have been really hard for me. There was a person I was close to, and then there was actually a few, and that was really hard for me to just end some friendships, but I feel like for the first time I feel happy, and I'm traveling as much as I can, and I'm about to graduate and start my new big girl job, so I do feel content. I feel like I have a really good support system around me. I'm really grateful for that. So
that's good. I think that's one thing I've had to learn too since graduating is letting people go when they're meant to be, out of your life. There's a saying, people are supposed to be in your life for a season. And that took me a long time to really understand because I had all these great friends and they understood me so well, and now they just don't reach out to me or they don't want to talk to me anymore, and it just becomes, what did I do? Why don't you want to talk to me anymore? But I feel like some people are meant to be in your life for a reason, and
I totally agree.
And if they're out of your life, then that's supposed to be for a reason. You can't keep toxic people in your life.
Agreed.
Yes.
Finger snaps for that.
Finger snaps,
yeah. No, there are definitely some people that I thought would be in my life forever, but I mean, this past year has just brought out, I feel like with the election and social movements and things going on in my life, it really showed me who should be in my life and who shouldn't. So,
I feel like 2019 was a pretty good year for me where I started to pick up a little bit of momentum. I don't count 2020. 2020 was a bad year for everybody.
Who heard of her?
Yeah, exactly. But I think this year is the year where a lot of people our age group, we're going to do some big things.
I agree.
Accomplish some good stuff.
I agree.
What is your dream place that you want to travel to?
Oh, goodness. So me and Mia actually have been talking about going somewhere after we graduate because she's graduating early in December too.
Nice.
So we kind of wanted to do a little trip. I don't know if it's going to happen, but Greece is definitely on my bucket list. Anywhere in Europe. I'd love to go to Spain. I know it's not out of the country, but I'd still love to go to Hawaii. Honestly, I'd go anywhere.
Anywhere with the beach.
With the beach would be ideal, but anywhere out of this country I'd love to go.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to go to Canada.
Canada would be cool.
I want to go up north there. Hawaii. I want to go there. Rio. I'd love to go to Rio. Travel there.
Yeah.
You went to Mexico. I'd love to travel Mexico.
I didn't really get to travel much of Mexico. We really just did an all-inclusive resort, so we were confined to that space, but if it's safe, I'd definitely go. Safety's key when traveling. But it was definitely beautiful.
Nice. And so my last question to you before I go ahead and let you go on your run on this nice hot day. If you could offer a piece of advice to your former self, your younger self, what would you say to that young girl?
Oh, goodness. I would say to be grateful for what I have and to keep going no matter how hard life gets, because even at your lowest points, you're better than how you're feeling, and that you will get through this with a good support system.
Nice.
Yeah.
I say the same thing to my younger self.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, just to be encouraged, not to be open to meeting new people and doing new challenges, because doing that, putting yourself out there, can bring nice opportunities for yourself.
I agree.
Yup. Well,
Good.
Maddie, thank you so much for your time.
Of course.
I had a great time doing this conversation.
Me too.
I thought I'd be so hot, but we're in the shade right now. I'm not as
Yeah.
hot, and this is a really great conversation.
Sorry to make you do this outside, but no, it was good.
No,
It was
I
good.
need to be outside. Like, I love being outside.
Yeah.
I love being able to meet up with people now and do these episodes versus
I agree.
doing it over the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this wraps up the episode. Stay blessed and stay encouraged.